Ayo, Shalom, praise to Yahweh Hashem, Yahshua Hashem Kakadash, double unto the apostles and elders of GreatMillStone, man. And then Shalom to all the brothers out there doing the work in sincerity and in truth. Just found this article, man. I wanted to talk about, because more or less Esau's just got like the people out here basically thinking, the population's out of control. There's not enough food on the planet or water on the planet to feed everyone, and that's just completely false, man. Because anyone with a fucking brain in their head can actually just think, like, the amount of the world that's actually inhabited is absolutely minuscule, and there's even in England alone, I think it's 92%, 96%, 94%, something like that of England is just not even it's just green. It's just undeveloped green. And this is just a small fucking country. If basically they were to if you wanted to set up, you could set up farms, you could set up houses, say all kinds of shit. There's all kinds of rivers, there's all kinds of different areas where you can just basically sort yourself out with some food, water, and a roof over your head, and a way to sustain yourself. And that's just on a tiny fucking island called England. In even bigger places like fucking on Africa, the amount of goddamn space there is there. Asia's, South America, bro, there's hella room, man. So basically, this is just this is just the eugenics. Because the thing is, it's funny, what they go into. It's they're talking about, how birth rates have been declining, and more or less, just it's a good thing. It's a good thing that less kids are being born and all that. But that is just eugenics. That's just straight up eugenics. Esau is just pushing that eugenics agenda. Maybe it's a good thing to have an abortion. Because then you're not. It's basically just about controlling who produces youths, which is what Esau's been about for a little while, man. When he had Jake in slavery, is only letting the big strong Jakes bust a nut in some black pussy. So this is old. And it's they've been saying overpopulation. Well, let me read it, man. It says the Earth and humanity will survive as fertility rates fall almost everywhere. So it's saying okay, if people kept having youths, we're gonna die off. That's completely ridiculous, man. Some of the most spectacularly wrong predictions in history have been made by those who claim that overpopulation is going to swamp the planet. Thomas Malthus, a British economist, writing in the late 1700s, is the most famous of these. Extrapolating past trends into the future, he predicted that population growth would inevitably swamp available food resources, leading to mass starvation. 1700s. I wonder what time in the 1700s this was, because that's the elites had their agenda running for a hot minute, man, around them times. And it says that didn't happen. We continue to develop new technology that let us stay ahead of the reaper. In 1968, Stanford biologist Paul Ehrlich wrote The Population Bomb, warning that unchecked population growth would lead to mass starvation in the 1970s. He was just as wrong as Malthus. Global population did surge, but food production managed to keep up. And the thing is, you say food production. I'm like, bruv, the majority of food that you get, especially this is fucking America he's talking about, man. Yeah, Stanford. Yeah, this is fucking America, man. So, the food they're eating out there, they got fucking Captain Crunch and criminal McDonald's, man. Some of the most criminal food spots on the planet Earth. So, what the fuck? That's just if you actually wanted to, animals and plants and fruits and variety of grains, things that yield from the earth, you can have them in abundance. There's fucking biofuel as a thing. Esau will create plants and then just turn it into fuel for whatever the fuck he wants to use it for cars or for planes or for boats, like whatever the fuck. So that just shows like that's just BS, like about food, like there's just barely enough food production. Says funny. So far the profits of overpopulation, false profits, you should say. So far the false profits of overpopulation have been defeated by technology, but human ingenuity alone can never deliver a final victory to the battle to feed the world. Eventually population growth will overwhelm the Earth's ability to provide calories. And that's just like, bro, the Lord set the earth up for the express purpose of sustaining life. So what the hell are you talking about, bro? That's the thing is right now the earth is under curses because of Esau's rule. That's why if ain't yielding how enough, that's because the devil's in rulership. Walk one for that. And it says but why that's why in order to put Malthus and Ehrlich finally to rest, a second component is needed: lower fertility rates. And that's just that is just straight up eugenics. So how you what the fuck has that got to do with anything, man? Lower fertility rates. The thing is there's enough land, there's enough food. That's just basically Esau being the devil. Because the thing is, this is what the elites want: lower fertility rates for the goyim. And then basically they're gonna it's like they have on the Georgia Guidestones to maintain humanity under 500 million. That's what they're thinking about. They're thinking about culling them numbers, man. Mass death. To save both the environment and themselves, humans must have fewer kids. To save the environment, that's the devil, man. That sounds like something David would say, man. It says, fortunately, this is happening during the lifetimes of Malthus and Ehrlich. Humans still tended to have large families, with each woman bearing an average of 5 children over a lifetime. But surely after Ehrlich's book, that began to change. That's because women's lib and all that BS. Because the funny thing is I'll just go, because this is like, I think just in general, like it's gone from like what, like 5 on average around the 60s, and then dipped down, and now it's like around 2, just over 2. So that means basically that in general, it's mainly that women's lib, man. Because when the thing is basically providing for the household has become more difficult. So the woman needs to go out and get the job. So then she can't be at home looking after the youth. So you can't be having like 5, 6 youths, because what the fuck are you gonna do with all of them, man? But it's a slowdown for the giants. Like even China's was what, 6, India's was 5. That's going. And the thing is, you go to all these countries, fucking hell, is that India? Yeah, India's gone down to what? Oh no, it's China. Okay. Yeah, but it's gone down hella. But then it's like women's lib, all that feminism BS has taken over. Because you go India, that's where BBC did that video about like, yeah, you know, it's like women in India shouldn't be scared to walk out on the street late at night. Okay, that's all good, but the thing is you still hear about them 500-man gang rapes. So that's just not true. That's just the thing where, and that happens over here. So even a Muslim country, and the thing is even with these, they're dropping because that women's lib, man. Even in Iran, they're burning the fucking hijabs. That's basically Esau's just put the world under massive confusion. That's why it's like people ain't having big families. People ain't about, you know, building up a house. They're just about having Sub-Saharan Africa, excluding high income. Why would you? Well, that's just fucking stupid. The global triumph of small families will be complete. That's straight up eugenics. And the funny thing, say countries like Ethiopia, Nigeria, Tanzania, and the Democratic Republic of Congo still have very high fertility rates. But if these last holdouts fall, the global triumph of small families will complete. So basically, there's a lot of them straight up jakes, man. Ghana's, Nigeria's, even in or Congo as well. Even in ETH, there's a lot of fucking Jakes there, man. So they basically want to just call them numbers, man. Eugenics, man. Nonsense. Trying to talk about it like you're saving the world. That's BS. Let me read this, man. Isaiah 24 and 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The people languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. And it's funny because I didn't even mean to bring this up. It's like the earth is mourning and fading away. Because if the earth ain't providing enough food for all these, the thing is like Esau will grow. Esau doesn't keep the land Sabbath. Esau doesn't deal with the earth righteously. He don't deal with animals righteously. He don't deal with anything righteously. This guy's gonna have just some epic mass farms, just in one place, just growing and criminalizing a bunch of animals to create food, when you like really meant to have like local suppliers in every individual. You meant to go like each little town or village. You should be able to find a fresh supplier of everything. You should be able to go there. The chicken's running around eating some grain or whatever the fuck, and then you just go and say, "Yo, sell me that chicken, fam." That's really what should be going on. But Esau's got it all flipped up. It says, the world languisheth and fadeth away, and that's really what's happening. Esau's rulership is just everything's being lost, man. People don't know what's going on. People don't know what they're out here for. They don't know what they're doing. It's a whole bunch of madness going down, man. And it says, the haughty people of the earth do languish, and these people are haughty, man, because these guys are some ignorant fucks, and they're trying to go on like they're on some. Oh, come on, man, ignorant as fuck. So it says, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. And the earth is defiled. And because they've transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. And the thing is, Esau did these things by purpose. He did them intentionally. And what's been the result? Everything descending further and further into chaos. And that's evident. You can look around and just see everything's just basically just been descending into madness. Because like what the fuck's going on here, man? Like Esau's basically just got it where it's like, transgenders. That's the thing is those kinds of like doing like homosexuals getting married, all these kinds of different things. Basically, those will lead up to depravity in the society. Will actually lead up to the place getting wiped out, man, and generally that can have effect on the land, on all kinds of things, man. Because you're inviting demons upon yourself, man, and upon the areas around you. Like when them Hamites were up at were in the Holy Land, not keeping the laws, Lord had some lions come tear them up, man, getting mashed up. So nature. That depending on what you're doing, the Lord can have nature take it out on you, man. It says, well, therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. And people are messed up at it. All people ever do is complain about shit. When are people ever contented? People might might get a month of work and then go on a holiday, and then it's like, okay, when after that holiday ends, they don't even remember, like a week into work, 2 days into work, they don't even remember what they did on that holiday, man. None of that bliss remains. That's because this place is a desolate place, man. It says, therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned and few men left. Yeah, that's after them nukes drop, man. When them nukes drop, a lot of people. So the thing is like, these elites are planning these things, releasing these different viruses, the world wars, and the nuclear, the nukes flying, as part of their plan. But really, it's the Lord's plan, man. The Lord's going to be the one who's going to strip the numbers out and wipe out a great amount of people, man. And that's even 2/3 of our own nation. So how much more so of the heathens, Yes. But yeah, I'll leave it there. But it's, Esau's that eugenics. That's that's something like he's really like now done it through philosophy, man. Because he's basically given these women their liberation, their so-called liberation. Now they can just go out on a whore and be on the pill, get abortions, and basically they're not settling down with men who are basically using them as to raise up families. That's a big part of eugenics, man. Because then you got a bunch of degenerates going out and they're being homosexuals, and dying off. And all kinds of nonsense and madness going down, man. But yeah, I'll leave it there, man. So yeah, I'll pray to y'all by Shem Yahshai. Don't want to see a passing. Oh, this is a great milestone, man. Shalom.